My boy Leo. What's going on, folks? Hey, I just got this Epicworld hoodie. The first of its kind in the universe. I wanted to intro the video and let you know that you can get yours at epicworld.world. Leo is absolutely loving it. I also wanted to intro this, I guess, because that is what intros are what's customary with shows on stage. That's what I'm familiar with. So in the summary, I just ramble and go on about 2024 when I really made a dramatic change. Stopped using substances, vaping, all that stuff, and committed to my own personal journey. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed the summary.
It's Epicworld.
Man, I'm so freaking mad right now. I was finalizing the story on the A7 III and the memory card cut me off. Just a sign from God. You're taking the story and you're taking too long to tell the story. So I'm gonna say what I was getting to as I was walking out of the woods. I don't have any bear spray. What happened in 2024, I was living in Calgary. I bought Moldavite, which is a crystal tektite. Tektite means it's of a meteorite. Look up Moldavite. So I bought this, wore it as a necklace. And then I was also getting delusional again with the law of attraction and manifestation and thinking things into reality. And I was telling my roommate Chris, we could probably manifest these tickets to Gary Vaynerchuk's VeeCon that was happening in Los Angeles. I end up manifesting these tickets or winning them. I don't know if it was manifesting or whatever, right? But they end up dropping in my inbox. I had the tickets on the airplane already booked. And then some crazy events happened where there was a massive hailstorm in Calgary the night before my flight. WestJet's fleet was damaged. They couldn't leave the ground. I ended up needing to have my flight rerouted. And then even after rerouting my flight, I got to the airport and ended up missing the flight. The first flight canceled last minute on me with no rebooking this morning. So I had to get in touch with Delta, and the agent was very helpful, other than they booked me on a last minute flight that I didn't get the ticket sent to me for because I couldn't log in with the wrong reference number, and everybody is just pointing at somebody else to try to get that ticket, and you can't get through security without the ticket. Why is this not NFT'd? I'm sure it is. This would solve it. Book the ticket, now you have it in your wallet. Airports, this is ridiculous, man. Like, come on, stop pointing to somebody else and just take care of the customers and not set them up for failure. VeeCon, I'll see you soon. Needing to rebook it for the next day. Chris ended up catching his flight with WestJet, flying to Los Angeles that day. I stayed at Calgary Airport all night. This is a video I posted to Twitter during that time. I was hanging around in this playground I found, beginning to go manic. Before the flight to Los Angeles, I went back to the apartment to drop my laptop off, and there was some cocaine on a table sitting there. So I ended up having some of this coke. I hadn't slept the entire night before, so I figured, I'll just bump this and I'll feel a little bit more energy and it'll get me through the trip to Los Angeles to these free tickets with VeeCon. An hour or so later, when I'm at the airport, I then take a little bit of this other stimulant called armodafinil, which is the longer form of modafinil. And then because of taking that armodafinil, coming off the plane in Salt Lake City, my perception turned into seeing everything as a video game, and perhaps I was seeing things in fifth dimension, perhaps I was seeing beyond the veil, I don't know. I believed I was getting maneuvered onto a certain path. I kept literally hearing people say we're in 5D, 3D now. Where this girl said in the in the travel line, I'm in two separate 3D places right now at once. It was just bizarre things. I end up in the parking garage in the bottom of Salt Lake City Airport, I saw this tweet come up on my phone. At this time, during having this overstimulation happen, it's like any idea that my mind had passed the logic firewall, so I wouldn't think about the ideas and their legitimacy.
So because of the cocaine and armodafinil mixing in my system, I had the overstimulation event that I had. And by the point that this tweet resurfaced on my phone, I was in the middle of this overstimulation event where my mind was not firing correctly. But from reading what is in front of you here, my brain concluded that I could maybe be like gravity or to master gravity. And so that resulted in me doing that which I did immediately, which what I did was run on a car and jump off of it and then fall to the ground.
I need like way more time to be able to even unpack this story, because this story itself is this should be a 3-hour long podcast. So that's what I'm going to do. And please comment below if you're interested to know where I published that, because this is like the crux of what happened to me that pivoted my whole attention. I end up seeing this text on Gravity or something, and concluding in my head during this overstimulation event, like if we become weightless and really drop all our baggage, then we literally can levitate within reality. Keep in mind, this is while I'm having a adverse reaction mentally from armodafinil and cocaine, both being taken at the same time. So I was not perceiving reality as we see reality. I was having an adverse event. And then because of this conclusion, I end up running on this car and damaging it, trying to jump off the car, and that damaged the car. But I guess this is just to summarize and end this thing so I can put a video together and see the minimum viable product when I get home. So let me tell you what happened after that. I end up having the police arrive and they apprehended me, and then there was this giant massive storm all around me that it felt like I had manifested. And I kind of felt like one of the superheroes in a comic book, right? Like Storm or somebody. Because I'm having this event from these stimulants in my mind open up and unlock all this stuff in a way. I wasn't visually, for instance, seeing like a HUD visual display. There were a few flickers in certain spots though. Maybe I was seeing, like, for instance, when I looked at the firefighter's badge, I saw it flicker between 2024 and 2026. And they were asking me when the cops apprehended me and then they took me to the fire department, the paramedics and the firefighters were all asking me, like, what's happening? What's causing this delusion? If you thinking that we're in this reality and you're talking about the Kundalini awakening and the Christ fluid rising all through your body and whatnot, and you're saying that we've got to focus on the cross, and all this stuff was just spilling out during my overstimulation, okay? And I was also like seeing just I think I was seeing exit on certain spots. I'm loving the sun here. That's why I'm walking towards it. I'm just gonna pause in the sun and finish this summary for you. It's taken an hour to do something I thought would take 10 minutes. So I'm sitting down in the firefighter's spot being apprehended. I'm handcuffed to this table telling them what's going on in my mind. They now realize, the firefighters and the police, they realize that I've had a mix of substances and I'm high, having an overstimulation. They send me in the ambulance to a nearby medical facility. I get treatment there. They start putting an IV on me. But at the time I was closing my mind, and I'm just convinced at the time that I need to meditate, that I need to rise this Kundalini energy through my body, the Christ oil from the bottom of the base, the kind of thing that Joe Dispenza teaches with Kundalini breathing and energy work. During this overstimulation, I'm just convinced that this is what I've got to do to rise it all the way up my energy centers and up into my brain. I end up having a downer put into my blood, whatever it was, and I end up being able to take a nap for a little bit.
So when I got released from the hospital, my brain still wasn't firing correctly. I consciously remember having incredibly odd delusions. Like I was videoing this propane inlet to a building with my phone. I don't have the video anymore because I lost that phone last year. But I was videoing this propane inlet, and I think in my mind I was thinking like that there were ways to be able to escape the matrix by being able to find the right code on this propane inlet. Or another thing that I was looking at was this there was this grate, like a cover for the inside of the building, and I was videoing it looking inside, and in my head I was thinking like that my soul is inside of this thing. Completely bizarre, not rational, conclusive things at all. What I'm saying is during that night period after I got out of the hospital, my brain still wasn't firing right all the way until the next morning. Okay.
The next day when I go to get on, I sober up over the course of that night, but it was a weird kind of delusional sobering up. I was not experiencing time the same way that we naturally do. It's almost as though I was experiencing it fast forwarded. Could have been a mix of what they gave me at the medical facility that also mixed with armodafinil and cocaine. The doctor probably didn't know, like, armodafinil is a 15-hour long half-life in the bloodstream, so whatever they gave me would react with it. So the next day I go to catch the flight that I had rebooked to get to VeeCon. I will go through security at the airport in Salt Lake City, and then when I go to check in at the gate, cops show up. They tell me that I've got to go to jail for the damage of under $5,000 of property. The car that I had ran on the day before during my overstimulation event while I was in a delusional state of mind, because I was reacting to a piece of information I saw on my phone that caused me to think, hey, maybe we can levitate. Again, during an overstimulation event. So there's so much energy to this story. But I just want to get out a minimum viable product. So then I ended up going to jail for a few days. And the experience I had there, when I was in Salt Lake City jail, the closest thing that I can describe to what I experienced that night is a NDE, or a difference of density. If you look up the law of one, there's a description of different densities and how everything is culminated and put together in the universe. Well, I experienced what felt like the equivalent of being existent in a different density of consciousness for, it felt like it was billions of years. And I also experienced this opening of consciousness in an audible way, where when I was falling asleep, you'll fall asleep and you'll just pass out. Well, I was winding down to go to sleep, and then I did not lose consciousness. What ended up happening is I heard in my head my own voice. I heard in my head my consciousness, my voice, my awareness say, I am Epic or Eric. I can't remember if it was Eric or Epic. My awareness was realizing itself and bringing audibleness to itself. I heard this awareness and this voice say, well, if I am Epic, who is God? And then myself, like this ego, I felt myself go, well, I am God. But then this all unfolded into much longer of a dream. Dream is the incorrect way of describing this. This was more of a unfolding of a grandiose of consciousness that I fully perceived energetically. It just wasn't this physical matter reality. It was a complete energy body experience. Please look up the Monroe Institute, the Gateway Hemisync tapes. That's an introduction to energy bodies and energy work. This, in the best description of what I could give, was either an NDE or an energetic astral connection that completely changed my perception. And then what ended up happening, after I was in Salt Lake City jail. My parents were looking for me, and when I got released from jail 3 days after doing my time, that's so funny to say. After doing my time, I got out, found out my dad was looking for me because I got my phone back. I flew back to Calgary, and my parents came to talk with me and see how I was. I told them about the experience that I had in jail. So then when I got to Calgary, I was entering a state of mania from different substances and the experience I had. And then it could have been the Moldavite energy as well that was happening at the time. And then I ended up just losing touch with reality in a way. I entered a state of mind again that was similar to what I experienced when I was on the streets in San Jose. And I also started having these delusions in terms of like wanting to be in a, not go back to I didn't want to go back to the apartment with these male friends of mine. I started fully believing that I meant to go back to an apartment with a female love of my life. And so I was like, all right, I'm not gonna go back to the Calgary apartment. I'm just gonna allow myself to parallel reality jump into the reality where I'm with my baby, with my girl. That's when I started listening to Ariana Grande. This is, if you're still here, you're an OG. Man, leave it to Epicworld to take a 3-minute summary goal and then stretch it out into taking an hour or 2 hours, 3 hours in order to tell. I'm going to stop rabbit trailing. I'm going to summarize it like this. I was then entering my delusion back in Calgary. I got out of jail. And then through August, started getting these feelings that I've got to break out of the matrix, and I've got to get back into, I've got to focus on the timeline. I would refuse to go back to the apartment with my roommates. What ends up happening is I was like delusionally walking on the streets of Calgary for nights on end. But again, strange things happened. I was kind of lost on the streets of Calgary after having been in jail. I was experiencing mania. And so my roommates, they ended up calling my parents. They knew there was a problem going on because I drank all of my roommates' liquor out of the cabinet that is his liquor. I'm talking like probably 40 bottles of liquor. And to me, when I look back on that, I don't even remember doing that. So a part of my brain kind of split, I suppose, and went into delusion. And like this euphoric, happy, manic type of delusion. This is the part of myself that really wants to speak out and educate people who are interested in the law of attraction and manifestation and creating your reality, that there are dangers when it comes to the idea of being delusional if you are not handling it with care. Yeah. So I end up back in the psych ward a second time. I'm 29 years old. I was there for 2 months. I have this delusion in my head at that time. I was listening to Ariana Grande and just obsessed with the music. And because of what the law of attraction states, I was like, you know what? I was in full belief that I'm meant to be in a relationship with Ariana. I've got journal entries where I was literally, it's as though I'm journaling when I'm writing in my book. I'm writing to the spirit realm on the other dimension, on the other side of the physical dimension, like the heavenly realm. And I'm communicating with my spirit team saying like, yo, can't wait to meet up with Ari tonight in my dreams. Part of my delusion in 2024 was believing that when I go to sleep, I was going up into a higher version of who I am. And what I believed is in that dream state, higher version, I'm in a relationship with Ari. So I would just like meditate listening to her music. I was actually like telling family members that I'm in a relationship with her. And what a place of the mind that you can go, right? Like it just, kind of epic. I'm really thankful that I got brought to that medical help again, because what 2024 really did for me after that 2023 year of getting crushed and needing to make that money back and then losing myself in substances and not having regulation for them. 2024, being in the psych ward for 2 months taught me, like, you know what? I'm not controlling this. I'm really, really not. I've ended up here not once because of the delusional mindset in 2022 from the investment going up and down, then being on the streets. But this is a second time that I'm in psychiatric care. And like now, I don't seem like I have control with nicotine, but I want to get out of my life. I drank all that booze. I was smoking all that pot. I got to cut it out. So at the beginning of 2025, I decided I'm getting my life back, my habits back. I'm getting the operator back, the director of life. That's who I wanted to become. I was like, I've got nicotine running a show where when I run out of a vape, I got to go to the store because there's this addiction that kicks in. It's like, let's get another vape. We need another vape. I didn't want that happening. So in 2025, I quit vaping cold turkey. It took a few times, but I was finally able to get in control of myself enough where then I just completely cut it out. I haven't vaped now for 10 years, could be 10 years at the time that I'm watching this. In 10 years, I haven't vaped in 10 months, 11 months, whatever it is, which means it's out of my life for good. I haven't drank in the same amount of time. Haven't smoked weed in the same amount of time. I've been sober all of 2025. And that's something that I can truly say I myself am proud of. And those that matter to me, they're proud of it as well. The change that has occurred. 2025 is like the most sober I've been in a long time in many different ways. Sober to life and realizing I'm still here. I'm still alive. And my story has carved out this warrior that I now get to be in a peaceful way. That right there is where I want to stop my my minimum viable product version of getting through my story. I appreciate you for watching this, for paying attention. I really need to know what parts of this that resonate for you and that I can provide more information on. In life, we really are here to be teachers to one another. I am a teacher for you and you were a teacher for me. What's most important is that we unlock the authenticity within one another and we encourage the growth in good ways with one another. My website that you can check things out on is epicworld.world. My primary way of just like doing things on the internet has been to point and shoot a camera and make video. But what I want to push myself towards now is getting my music recorded and distributed. There's too many goals that I've got to put on, and I'm just trying to like wrap my mind around how to present it the right way. Please go check out epicworld.world. If you're looking for where to find my music, my old music is Eric Cherkoff on Spotify or on Apple Music. My new music now is all distributed under Epicworld. Epicworld, the creator. I'm really grateful for this community, for you being a part of a community of people that believe the best in each other and that encourage and inspire and know that positive change it's possible and it's the most valuable thing that we can encourage on this planet. And thank you for who you are. Thank you for honoring me, for allowing me to be the best version of myself. And thank you for encouraging positive change in the best way for all of us on planet Earth and beyond. On Mars, shout out to all of you there. On the moon, like I'm just making this timeless, right? Shout out to everybody in the galaxy and in the multiverse.
It's Epicworld.